The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Zekthor of the Kytheran Empire rose from his crystalline seat. His forearms gestured dismissively toward the human delegation, his chitinous exoskeleton gleaming under the artificial suns that illuminated the vast dome. "Honored Council," Zekthor's voice resonated through the chamber's translation matrix. "We cannot seriously consider admitting such a fragile species into our alliance. Humans possess no natural armor, no enhanced healing, no redundant organ systems. Their bones break like brittle ceramic. Their skin tears at the slightest provocation. They are quite simply too weak for the rigors of galactic warfare." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembled delegates. The crystalline Veltari chimed their approval, while the gas-formed Nethesians pulsed with harmonious colors. Even the usually diplomatic Centaurian representatives nodded their equine heads in reluctant agreement. Captain Sarah Chen, leading the human delegation, maintained her composure despite the burning humiliation. She had expected this. Humanity's application to join the Galactic Defense Coalition had been met with skepticism from the start. Compared to species that could regenerate limbs, survive in hard vacuum, or shrug off energy weapons, humans appeared laughably fragile. "Perhaps," she said, her voice cutting through the murmurs, "you might reconsider after observing our combat trials." Zekthor's mandibles clicked in what passed for Kytheran laughter. "By all means, Captain. Though I fear we shall only confirm what we already know." The testing arena on Nexus Station was a marvel of engineering, a kilometer-wide sphere capable of simulating any environment imaginable. Today it resembled the surface of Kepler 442b, where Coalition forces had recently fought the mechanical harvester swarms. Twisted metal debris jutted from crimson soil beneath a sulphurous sky, while gravity pulled it twice Earth normal. Sergeant Marcus Webb stood at the arena's center, checking his equipment one final time. The Coalition observers watched from shielded galleries high above, their forms silhouetted against the viewing ports. He could feel their skepticism like a physical weight. "Beginning simulation," announced the arena's AI. "Difficulty, veteran. Opponents, 12 harvester combat units. Gravity, 2.1 standard. Atmospheric toxicity, moderate. Good luck, Sergeant." The first wave materialized from quantum projectors, 4 spider-like machines, each the size of a small vehicle, their plasma cutters already glowing. Webb rolled behind a chunk of debris as energy beams scorched the air where he'd stood. His rifle spat controlled bursts, each shot precisely placed. The humans had learned to target the harvester's central processing nodes, a weakness discovered through countless bloody encounters. 2 machines collapsed in showers of sparks, but the remaining pair pressed forward. One harvester leaped over his cover, plasma cutter descending toward his head. Webb twisted aside, but not quite fast enough. The superheated beam grazed his shoulder, burning through armor and flesh. In the observation gallery, several aliens winced at the display. Such an injury would cripple most species. Webb grimaced but kept fighting. The second wave brought 6 harvesters, approaching from multiple angles. Webb moved like a dancer through the debris field, using every piece of cover, every shadow, but the machines were learning, adapting to his patterns. A plasma burst caught him in the ribs. The energy didn't penetrate his armor, but the kinetic impact hurled him against a twisted beam. The sickening crack of breaking ribs echoed through the arena. In the gallery, Ambassador Zekthor leaned forward with interest. Surely the human would yield now. Webb pushed himself upright, one hand pressed against his side. Blood trickled from his lips, but his eyes remained focused, calculating. He shouldered his rifle with his good arm and continued the fight. "Remarkable," whispered Dr. Thys, the Veltari medical observer. Her crystalline structure chimed softly with amazement. "His calcium-based skeletal structure is severely compromised, yet he maintains combat effectiveness." The third wave was the true test. 12 harvesters in a coordinated assault. Webb's breathing came in short, painful gasps, each movement sending fire through his chest. A normal human would have collapsed. A sane human would have retreated. Marcus Webb was neither normal nor entirely sane. He was a soldier. He rigged his remaining explosives into a trap, luring 6 machines into a kill zone before detonating them in a chain reaction that shook the entire arena. The remaining harvesters pressed their advantage, sensing his weakness. A mechanical claw raked across his thigh, tearing muscle and scraping bone. Webb stumbled but turned the fall into a combat roll, coming up behind another machine to put 3 rounds through its processor. His left leg could barely support his weight now, but he adapted, using the debris for support while maintaining his defensive position. "He should be unconscious," muttered Commander Vex of the armored battalions. The 4-legged carapist warrior had witnessed countless battles, but this display of endurance defied his understanding of biology. When the simulation finally ended, Webb stood among the wreckage of 12 harvester units. His armor was cracked and smoking. Blood ran from multiple wounds and his breathing came in shallow, painful gasps. 3 ribs were broken, his shoulder was burned, and his leg could barely support his weight, but he stood. The observation gallery had fallen completely silent. Webb looked up at the assembled delegates, his face pale but his eyes unwavering. He didn't speak, he didn't need to. Ambassador Zekthor's forearms trembled slightly as he processed what he had witnessed. In Kytheran culture, injury meant retreat, healing, regrouping. The idea of fighting through such damage was beyond their comprehension. I don't understand," he admitted, his translated voice barely a whisper. "How does he continue?" "His skeletal structure is compromised, his muscular system's damaged, his pain receptors screaming warnings." Captain Chen's voice carried across the arena's communication system, clear and proud. "That's what you don't understand about humans, Ambassador. We don't fight because we're strong. We fight because we choose to be strong. We don't stop because something is broken. We adapt. We overcome. We endure." Dr. Theis's crystalline form chimed with newfound respect. Their weakness is their strength. In the arena below, Sergeant Webb finally allowed himself to collapse, but not before giving the observation gallery a crisp military salute. Medical teams rushed to treat his injuries, but the damage to alien preconceptions was already complete and irreversible. The vote to admit humanity to the Galactic Defense Coalition was unanimous. 3 months later, when harvester swarms threatened the core worlds, it was human soldiers who led the counterattack. Broken bones, seared flesh, and all. They fought not because they were physically superior, but because they had something their alien allies were only beginning to understand. The will to stand when standing seemed impossible. The strength to fight when fighting seemed futile. The courage to endure when endurance seemed beyond reason. They fought because they were human, and being human meant never knowing when to quit.